Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to Apathetic Scenes number 58. I'm Tom Rouse, your host as always, and joined with me is Billy Roche. How are you doing, Billy? Happy New Year to you.
You've been practicing that intro for quite a few. You obviously, when we joined on Zoom, and I joined on Zoom, you
Yeah.
used that, and then I think we should go with spoiler alert. This is probably going to appear later in the podcast, but we're renaming the podcast now to Absolute Disasters after that
Oh, yeah.
introduction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How has your Christmas been? Because obviously, when we last spoke, technically was before
Yeah.
Christmas, and then we had the special episode with Harry after Christmas, but spoiler, we recorded it before. So yeah, how's your Christmas been?
It was very, very nice. It was very different, obviously, but it was very enjoyable nonetheless. We had a normal Christmas. Sorry, excuse me. That's just my adoring fans just getting in touch with me. So our Christmas morning was, it's our first Christmas together, so that was nice. We shared lots of gifts, and then I went to my parents' house and climbed in through the back window to pass them their gifts. And we saw my grandparents as well. So all of that was quite nice because we just stopped outside at various points and gave them gifts and literally 5 minutes or so because it was very, very cold. But then the rest of the day we spent at Alice's parents on their patio outside. We didn't go inside at all. 5 hours eating Christmas dinner. And I don't know if you're the same, Billy, but shortly after Christmas dinner, I need a Christmas visit to the Christmas toilet. It was.
You need to get that. You need to sort out that Yule log, is it?
Exactly, and I held it in for longer than I usually would on Christmas Day, and goodness me, when we arrived home. But it was so cold. Like in the end, when I came back here and sat on the toilet seat was warm. That's how cold it was outside. But how about you, Billy? Any different to your Christmas?
Well, the plans that we'd made, as we've already spoken about, obviously going up to Edinburgh and things like that changed. But it was a pretty normal, generic Christmas for us. Got up, presents, dinner, watch films, that Santa bean and all that sort of thing. Yeah, and lots and lots of chocolate and things like that. But not to ignore my Christmas, Tom, but I know all our listeners will be keen to hear about your Christmas dinner because it was obviously your first ever time not having turkey. I think turkey. I don't know. You might have not had turkey before, as in on Christmas dinner, but being a vegetarian for Christmas, that's the question. So, how did you find that? Obviously, eating out in the cold as well might have enhanced it. But how was it?
I've got to give a shout out to John, Alice's dad here. A fantastic dinner. They even ate it as well, and I'm assured that it was 99% vegan. Apparently, there was only a little bit of butter in the gravy or something like that. There was a little bit of butter, but apart from that,
mash, maybe.
No, we didn't have any mash. It was a very posh dinner. It was there was red cabbage, there was roast potato, but they were roasted like nothing I'd ever seen before, Billy. They were like it was like a whole potato.
Yeah,
and it was Jamie Oliver's recipe. That's what I've been assured. Sprouts, obviously, with chestnuts in them. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to quickly look back to Christmas Day on my phone to find you a picture of the dinner. For
gravy, as you said.
Gravy. Yeah. But the replacing the turkey was a beef Wellington. I'll just, obviously not beef, but I'll just hold it up to the screen there, and I know that you won't be able to see it very clearly.
Yeah.
But it was, so he'd taken a load of vegan burgers, or plant-based burgers, and mashed them all together to create the beef log.
Yeah.
And then encased it with some pastry. And it was really, really nice. It was very nice to eat. And it was only maybe on Boxing Day or maybe it was on the walk home. I thought, I hadn't missed any of the meat aspects of the meal until walking back home. I thought, I was worried about missing pigs in blankets, but didn't actually miss them while I was eating it. So I think, and that moves me on nicely to my first New Year's resolution.
Okay.
So me and Alice are going to try and do Veganuary, which for Alice is not going to be a problem. She's been vegan before, but for me, it's going to be somewhat of a challenge because if you know me, big cheese lover, big chocolate lover, crisps as well. I've got
Yeah,
milk in
yeah.
them as well. It's going to be a really really tough month, and as well because at school I have a free school dinner and I have the same every day because the only vegetarian option they have is a cheese sandwich. So I'm gonna have to make my own dinner and stuff for a month. But I mean, will I be going into school? Who knows?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's the other thing. No, yeah, no. I'm glad you enjoyed your back to the Christmas dinner. I'm glad you enjoyed the dinner and things like that. I was worried about you. I was concerned. But the one thing that I noticed that was different, other than the meat aspect that was on my plate, that on your plate, was Yorkshire puddings, Tom. Do they not appear on your
no, sadly not. No, but they wouldn't have done anyway. Like
anyway? But
my parents, my mom never made Yorkshire puddings with the Christmas dinner. Although last year's Christmas dinner included sweet corn, so all bets are off with my mother's Christmas dinner. I know.
But no, that's what I was
it was
say,
because she'd forgotten to buy peas, so she had like a vegetable medley or something in the freezer, and that's what went.
That's what appeared, because that's what I was going to check, because Alice's parents aren't vegetarian, are they?
No.
That's because I didn't know.
They bought their own turkey, but they ate the same as us on Christmas.
That's what I was going to say, because obviously they were making a vegetarian Christmas dinner rather than a vegan one, and obviously Yorkshire puddings would appear on a vegetarian and not on a vegan one. But obviously, being from the north, my family, Yorkshire puddings must appear on every roast dinner or their equivalent. So yeah, we had Yorkshire puddings, pigs and blankets, turkey. Yeah, the works. Parsnips, Tom? Nice. No parsnips?
Yeah, there was a parsnip and a carrot, but they were very poshly done. They were like caramelized. A whole parsnip. Yeah. It was very, very posh. Very nice.
I might have to visit this establishment, Tom. It's sounding very good. It's very, very, very good. No, yeah. But
I'll send you the TripAdvisor reviews.
Yeah, please do. But just because obviously you've mentioned your resolution, I might as well mention mine now. Similar, maybe it's in a similar sort of way, maybe, because obviously you're doing veganism for your health and things like that, as well as the environmental benefits. I'm gonna try and start running more. I stopped for the last, I was doing a lot, I think not this year, just gone the year before, because I did the Cardiff half, and it sort of waned last year, having the motivation to go out and run and stuff like that. So that's my resolution. It's obviously not as exciting potentially as yours, but because I've done it before. No, but yours is something new. That's what I mean. Whereas mine is something to start again, if that makes sense. But so that's my one.
I do need to do that as well, but I've got a toenail on my big toe is hanging off at the minute, so I don't feel like doing any running for a little while. But I do. I think I was very guilty of. If we, this is a review of the year.
Yeah.
Look back over the year. Back in March when we were locked down originally. Instead of thinking, oh, great, now every day I should make sure I go out and do 20 minutes running, and then eventually that'll build up. Like you did, and a friend of mine, Robbie, did as well. Every day through lockdown, you ran a lot.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. And I think if I'd have done more in that time, I think I'd be a lot fitter now. And I mean, because everything got taken away from us. So in April, that's when cricket would be starting up. I'd be doing at least cricket every week. But then I had football twice a week taken off me as well. So it was a lot of exercise taken to zero. And then it's taken a lot to build it back up to any sort of strength.
That's what I was going to
say. Now we've taken it back off us again. So
that's what I was going to say, is because obviously everyone, like you're the prime example, where you would have normally been doing football twice a week, cricket and all that sort of stuff. It's trying to find that fitness element, being able to do it on your own, because, we don't know how long the current situation we're in, and gyms are almost probably the most unsafe place on the planet at the minute, according to what's going on. But that's where a lot of people would normally go. But yeah, I think health is going to be the focus of both our resolutions and things like that. But yeah, it's something to look forward to, at least to try and do. But yeah, good.
Do you get any good presents?
I mean, hang on, where is it? The best present I had, if I can find it, was
so many presents. He's got to find it.
It's underneath all the quizzes that I've now brought, which we're going to obviously talk about. Was this? I don't know if you can see.
Oh, that looks familiar.
It was written by. It was actually written by a very famous person, Tom. I don't know if you realise this.
By
It's
John
obviously
Terry. Wow.
by
So just
Chelsea
for the audio
captain.
listeners, yeah, this
Yeah.
is going to be a book about Chelsea, surely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a book about Chelsea and and them farming all the good players around the globe. No,
yeah. So
it's a book.
let's just clear it up for the audio listeners. It's a joke about no, it's a book about farming jokes, something like that.
Yeah, the farming joke book, a collection of agricultural jokes, amusing stories, and anecdotes. So yeah, if I quickly flick through one and find the two best things about my husband are his open wallet and his closed mouth. That's from a farmer's wife.
Very good.
Just very good. But yeah, I'm just flicking through and trying to find something.
Are we allowed to talk about why that was purchased for you, Billy? Or
we'll keep that a mystery, I think, for a couple more weeks. We'll keep it a mystery.
But if you are listening, Happy New Year.
but yeah, that was, I think, that the most of the other presents that I got were chocolate and things like that. It's mainly because my birthday is next month. In January, and I've almost pushed my family members to avoid buying me extravagant gifts for Christmas, because the week after everything is on half price, and they can then get me them for my birthday instead. So my birthday and it always has been. My birthday's always been when I get the more extra. Like looking back through the years, it's when the games consoles that I had as presents were bought for my birthday, because at the time I didn't realize, but that was why. It was because the sales and things in January, obviously it was a better deal and things like that. So yeah, that was that, and it's just been that's the thing that I've gone for. So yeah, other than chocolates and things like that, my parents got me a voucher for the Mexican restaurant that is in Cardigan, which we frequent every week.
Get in touch with them about sponsoring this podcast, because they've had more mentions on this podcast than anything else.
I will. Normally the owners, they normally go to, I think they go abroad normally for Christmas. They shut like the week before Christmas, and then they're not back until March or whatever. But they're stopping where they are, and they're going to open up in January. So yeah, I'll mention it to them. They know that I do my other podcast. So I could get them a dual sponsorship.
Yeah.
That could be the thing. So yeah, I'll write it down. That'll be my New Year's resolution, to find as a sponsor.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you, Tom? Anything?
I was very, very lucky. I had lots and lots of nice presents. But probably the most expensive one was a pair of walking boots.
Nice.
I'm not sure if you probably know, actually. I haven't got walking boots. I've only got trainers, and every couple of times for the last couple of years, since I moved out of my parents' house, because my dad threw away my boots, and for some reason my computer that had hundreds of photos and videos, all the video diaries from university, just went to the tip, because he just didn't think, and he just chucked it all away. So all of that's gone. But yeah, so I finally got a pair of walking boots, and I've been wearing them. I went for a little walk down the canal the other day while Alice was at work, and then that's been a very nice present. I've had a couple of records as well, some more vinyl.
More vinyl records, yeah.
Blossoms on vinyl, Beatles Revolver on vinyl, and Beatles Live from 1963 live vinyl as well. So yeah, some very, very nice gifts. Lots of nice gifts, and pajamas.
Of course, because you're now reaching that age where you're an old man, and pajamas and comfort is the essential thing. Walking boots will obviously be followed by a walking stick next year. But no, it's funny that you mentioned that, because my parents, they've started walking a lot more recently, and they were looking at getting walking boots when they were going up to Edinburgh. The plan was for them to, because in Cardigan there aren't many shops in terms of the big chain stores, so they were planning on going to one of the various shops that are up there, and because with walking boots you normally have to try them on, with footwear you try them on and stuff like that. So they were going up, but they've managed to, I think it was yesterday, this huge 6-foot box arrived, and I was like, what the hell are they ordered? And it was the 5 pairs of walking boots that they'd each bought to try on, because obviously at Christmas, with Christmas at the minute, they've extended like the returns policy. So their plan is obviously then to go to Carmarthen, which is the nearest big town, which has got the same shop, and return all the shoes that they didn't want. So they've now got. I think my dad's kept 2 pairs and my mum's kept 1. But the drama that ensued yesterday was hilarious because my dad said he's going to keep a pair for going on walks, and he's kept another pair for special occasions, and to wear out about the town and stuff. Because that's all he wears is these walking boots. So they've got these nice leather ones, and they went for this walk, and my mum didn't realize until they got halfway around that he wore his posh pair of walking boots, and then when they got home, just was laid into him, going, "You were supposed to wear these boots," and it's all So that's the drama that's ensued over. That's the Christmas beef in the roadhouse.
Christmas beef, vegan beef Wellington, indeed. Right, shall we have a feature, Billy? Which feature would you like? It's Christmas. It's your choice. What would you like?
Shall I give you one of the questions? Because obviously we're going to smash them probably throughout. So last year we were speaking off air, weren't we? And we went through the year, and there was various months. Each question was related to a various month. The quiz this year, because there's not been anything happening in 2020 other than this one thing which has stretched the whole year. They had the quiz that I have hasn't done this. The paper that we normally get hasn't done the same thing. So it's a bit of a random smattering of questions. So question 1, Tom. I haven't looked at the answers either, so we can answer these together as we did last year.
Okay.
So in May, which co-Durham attraction was momentarily the UK's most reviewed tourist spot?
That was Barnard's Castle.
There are options, but I think we both know that it is Barnard's Castle. That is true. What were your thoughts? What thoughts, Tom, of that?
Oh man. Well, we weren't doing the podcast. That was when we were having our little hiatus. But it was an infuriating time for lots of people, and I remember being a little bit annoyed. Not really angry about it, because I mean, lots of people were breaking lockdown rules in lots of different ways, weren't they? But for the person who recommended lockdown to then go and do what he did was pretty stupid, really. But he's gone now, so he won't be a problem.
Well, that's why I was questioning, because obviously, now you've just got glasses yourself quite recently. Did you have to do any sort of similar test?
Yeah, so they asked me to drive down the M5 for an hour, and if I crashed into anything, I needed glasses. So there you go.
I think that out of the whole thing, I think that was the bit that I found the most ridiculous, was the him trying to explain, to justify what he was doing by saying, I needed to test my eyes out by driving to this place and back to just see if my eyes were fine and stuff. So
but just everything about his speech or his explanation was just showed him as for what he was, because he turned up half an hour late, 40 minutes late. So you had the whole of the country watching BBC News for half an hour at this empty table. He then turned up with the shirt untucked and unbuttoned and just looking like a mess. He then sat down at this table where, everybody else who does a speech outside down. Well, another thing was it was at the back of Downing Street in the Rose Garden rather than in the front of it. Just everything about it was just to annoy everybody. And it was just, he was ridiculous. So thank God he's gone.
It was ridiculous and stuff. But do you want me to ask you another one, or do you want to move on to something else?
Go on, let's have one more.
Well, okay, this one is quite a lot of these could have appeared on probably the next feature that you're probably going to go to, if I'm right. So in November, the Russian State Aviation Authority recommended that Aeroflot, I don't know what that is, but immediately sack an executive of their budget airline, Pobedia. Why is the question? So these are multiple choice. So the airline transported a live bear in the flight compartment. The airline advertised a discount for gay and lesbian passengers in protest at homophobic legislation. The airline produced an instructional video for staff showing them how to make homemade pee-pee out of serviettes, vodka, and shoelaces. Or D, an aeroplane carrying 102 passengers deviated from its route to trace a flight path. Which resembled a scrotum on a flight tracking app.
I think it's that last one, isn't it? I think I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
No, actually, hang on. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Hang on, because I'm looking at the wrong. Hang on. The scrotum was drawn by the pilots in support of Russian football captain Dzibia, who had been suspended from the national team after footage of him masturbating was leaked to the public. So yeah,
And that's Believe It or Not for this week.
there we go. So yeah, there's quite a lot of questions similar to that. So well, I'll try and we'll interject them throughout the rest of the podcast, I think.
Yeah.
They are quite good, I think.
They are. That is pretty good. Let's get this one out of the way quickly. Hang on. This feature. And it's time for Billy Roach's poll. Billy, share your fury.
Well, I had said it would be the last one this week. So I thought I'd have something to look forward to. And I thought it was pretty good of a question. However, once again, I was disappointed by the uptake. And I can only blame the listeners for not following us on Twitter. That's what I've decided. I've decided to go AWOL and blame the listeners now. I've gone past caring. I've given it my all. But yeah, so the question was, what sporting event are you looking forward to most in 2021? Now, I will hold my hands up and admit that potentially none of these would happen. So might be why I think that's what that's what I'm taking as no one has voted because they believe none of these four things will happen. And were unable to vote. So I had the European Championships, the Olympics and Paralympics, the Rugby League World Cup, or Fury versus Joshua. We had a whopping 3 votes.
Wow.
Three whole votes. Tom, do you want to have a prediction as to which?
Well, I know that I voted for the Olympics, and I sent it in a WhatsApp group to my family who also like the Olympics. So I'm going to guess that it was the Olympics.
It was the Olympics. Well done, Tom. But it wasn't a whole landslide.
Oh no! Right.
Fury and Joshua was in second place with 1 vote. 2 votes went to the Olympics and the Paralympics. But again, it's one of those things which hopefully is going to happen. But I think the way things are being spoken about, I think the priority of the vaccinations are going to go to athletes because they are the most important people on the planet. Wow. So that's the final poll, Billy Roach's poll. But it may make an appearance in 2021, rebranded into something else. But we'll leave it for now. That's it. Moving on swiftly
To my favorite sting.
Now,
but it's not going to be football this week.
Everton, Manchester United, Leeds United, United, West Bromwich, Tottenham Hotspur, Leicester City.
Well, I lied actually, Billy. It is going to be about football. I forgot that I'd actually found these. These are some 2 rare interviews from both of our managers, so Wolves and Chelsea's manager, that they've made this year. Just wanted to. This is Frank Lampard, first of all. This is what he said.
Christian was really game, which is great for him to play 2 games in that space of time, fitness-wise. It was really hits the side net and it looks like it's in. Created a few chances for himself, and as I say, a lot of our play was really good. Now it's a little so you have to fight through it. But I thought everything can't ask for more from what the players gave, the way they worked it.
There you go. That was Frank Lampard. A filthy interview there, disgusting. And this is Nuno from back when Wolves were in the Europa League, when we got knocked out in the quarterfinal stage. One of my highlights of the year, not us getting knocked out, but the European journey. This is what he had to say about that.
European football is we want to improve, and if we want to improve and compete against the best ones, European football is just one more detail, because the Premier League is enough. It's almost like playing Champions League every week. So for sure the future is for us.
Thank you.
There you go. There's that.
Brilliant.
Our meme of the week. But this is what I also had planned. This is not even a meme. This is what Boris Johnson said yesterday about schools remaining open, which is just baffling.
Yeah.
The message is schools are safe. The problem is not the schools. Teachers, school authorities, parents, they made a fantastic effort to make schools safe places. The issue is what happens, the spread from the mixing of households that naturally takes place in schools. That's what we're trying to combat.
So it's not the buildings themselves. It's the people in the buildings that's causing the problems.
Of course.
So if we can
I hadn't even considered that, Tom. I hadn't even considered that could be the cause of all the problems.
So what he's saying is open the schools, but just don't let any people in there.
Yeah,
but open the schools,
and that'll solve all life's problems in general. I think across the board and stuff. But
keep the shops open, but don't let anybody in.
But just to go back to Lampard, Christensen in particular, I was trying to find the clip, but have you seen that John Terry has slated him?
No.
So I don't know if you saw the Villa goal, but basically Christensen went down injured. He wasn't injured.
Oh, okay, right.
And on near enough the halfway line, and then Villa scored from a cross, and Christensen wasn't in the box, and it would have been the area which Christensen would have been in, because Aspilicueta had to move over, and then it went over his. That makes sort of sense. And Terry apparently just turned around and went, "But he should have got up." Yeah. I just said he was basically saying he was useless. So it was quite funny how someone like John Terry was just like, yeah, he should have just got up. And I was saying to my dad, arguing at the time, I was like, you'd expect if it was Grealish or Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea team, if that was them, you'd be half expecting them to stay down. But as a defender, you'd be like, it was literally like a little knock, and he just stayed down as if he'd been shot. So that's probably his last game for Chelsea. That would be my predictions. It's not on my predictions because I know we're going to make predictions later, but I would predict that would be his last game for Chelsea. So yeah. But do you want to mention anything about Wolves at the minute, Tom, before we progress on? Because there we are. Sounds good. There we are.
Moving on. Let's go to this straight away. When it loads.
Denmark government are allowing sex with domestic animals during Malcolm Pike left an address at when he was the Brazilian somewhere. Chico Rodriguez has stuffed 10,000 government. The government are banning babies to own businesses. A Dutch football team is not allowed to be sponsored by sex toys. A 3-year-old has been swept off by a kite. Bears.
It's time for Believe It or Not.
You are fake news.
There we go then. Billy, I've got nothing to say about Trump this week. I don't think apart from your excellent second present, which I don't think had arrived at the time of last recording, which is The Little Book of Trumpisms, which has provided a lot of entertainment in this house already. But yeah, I've got nothing to say on him this week, so you can go straight on to Believe It or Not.
Okay, so the headlines are: over 90s will be living it up in nightclubs. Coronavirus board game set to be the best-selling board game in 2021, and Guardians of the Galaxy US Space Force to be renamed as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. Okay. So that last one then is to do with Trump, isn't it? Because he's been going on about Space Force for quite a while.
Yeah.
So was its nickname Guardians of the Galaxy then, or something? Was it?
No, they're going to be renamed as Guardians. So the sailors are the Navy, airmen, etc., Marine submarines. That's what they're going to be referred as. The Space Force. People who are members of the Space Force are going to be known as Guardians.
Right.
And hence why they'll be Guardians of the Galaxies, because they are obviously part of Space Force. So they're going to be known as Guardians.
Is there not a problem with copyright with Marvel?
At the time of recording, there hasn't been any sort of legal complaints or anything lodged by Marvel for that. So yeah. But there's also a TV show at the minute which was done by Steve Carell, which is called Space Force.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously there's been no.
I think that was after. So
yeah, but there's another thing. There has been a comment from James Gunn, who is the writer and director of the 2014 film, which is can we sue this dork? So it might lead to that, but at the time of recording, there has been no sort of the process hasn't been started yet.
Okay, and whose idea is it to create this force, or to change the name?
To change the name, Mike Pence was the one who has announced it. Right. I don't have anyone who's.
It's his thing, isn't it? The Space Force. That's his.
Yeah,
that's what he's been doing for the last 4 years, apparently. Got to be careful now what we say, Billy, because over half of our listeners now come from the US of A, California in particular. Those who are listening in San Jose, hello.
Yeah,
you're
I think if that's the case, Tom, we are safe to carry on our normal trajectory of how we believe of Trump, because they are obviously.
Well, I'm not going to change. Regardless.
But no, yeah. But President President-elect Biden hasn't revealed his plans yet for Space Force. So it could be that they change, but it could be his last thing that Trump does is to rename Space Force as the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think he's more likely to pardon himself, but never mind. Okay, moving on then. So the COVID board game.
Yeah.
You like your board games, so will this be one that you're buying?
It looks an entertaining game. It consists of people buying groceries on a shopping list for their elderly neighbours who are shielding against the virus. You've got to collect and swap cards, and the winner is whoever delivers all their items first. So it's very, it hits the nail on the head, as you will and stuff.
I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought it was going to be like the end square being like the end of the disease, but then you get locked down, so you stay in the same place for 2 or 3 goes, or you get a vaccine, so you move. If you roll a 6, you get a vaccine, so you move forward.
I don't think it's It's not a survival sort of game. It's not like pandemic-ish games, or anything like Risk, where you're moving the virus across the board or things like that. I can't find a picture of the board, but I know the cards have got pictures of masks on the back, which I know you'll enjoy. And there's there are ones with which cause they've got like the picture of a virus and things like that on them, which might miss me like a penalty sort of thing, similar to not like a go to jail card on Monopoly, but that sort of thing.
The R rate is increasing.
Yeah, the R rate's increasing. There's various cards like that. But yeah, it's been made by a German company, which obviously that's where most board games are created anyway. Yeah. But yeah, anything else you want to know, Tom?
Who's it made by?
It's made by 2 sisters who designed the game. The Schwaderlapp sisters, I want to say.
Okay.
My German is obviously really good. I can. Do you want me to spell? Do you want me to spell you the name? Because your German obviously is a lot better than mine.
Go on then.
It's SCHWADER, and then LAPP.
Oh, so like a double-barreled name?
No, it's all one name.
I think you're probably quite close. Schwaderlapp.
Yeah, the sisters, there was a group of sisters who've put it to good use and created this game. So yeah, do you want me to describe the box to you at all, or are you all right?
Go on. Yeah, no.
It's basically toilet roll being streamed across the whole box with people running along the toilet roll, and then images of coronavirus chasing them.
Okay, I might be wrong, but have you told me the name of this board game already?
Corona.
Oh.
Very
That's
original. Yeah.
Corona. Okay, and then the final story then.
It is German, so obviously the name could change if once it reaches the UK, but yeah.
Yeah. All right then. So over 90s going to be living it up in a nightclub. Is this to do with the vaccine?
Yeah, so basically, with the vaccine imminently coming in, and the nightclubs now are going to try and adhere to the new legislation that's coming in and shift their focus from the young to the old. Is the basic sort of premise that's been going on. That's the licensing chiefs are looking at changes that they can make to enable people to come in. It would be a similar sort of thing where they've got a bucket table, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the current thought process that's being put forward to the House of Commons, if you will, which will
Okay, so it is in the UK then.
Yeah, it's in the UK. Yeah.
Why over 90s and not 80s? Because
I think that's the headline that they've gone for. But I think it's going to be It's going to be one where they're allowing people over 90s and then over. It's that sort of. They're going to go down the tier system. I think it's more focusing on those who've had the vaccine, which is predominantly those older generation at the minute. That sort of thing. I think that's the.
So what else are they going to put on? So not just opening the doors. What are they going to do to offer it to the elderly?
I think bingo is going to be top of the list.
But can I just ask them, why wouldn't they just open the bingo halls?
This is nightclubs are trying. This is what nightclubs are going to try and combat with.
All right then. So what else are they going to do then to drag people away from going to the bingo halls? Do you know what I mean?
Tom, I'm not a publicist, okay? I'm not going to try
you've made this story up, Billy, so I'd like you to try and get yourself out of it.
Why do you think I've made this one up?
Because you're flapping.
Well, this is all I've got is the story that's here.
Go on then, so bingo. Announced. What else?
Well, I made the bingo bit up, yeah. I'll admit that. Because I'm like, I don't know.
Murray Mints, Horlicks.
Yes, could be. It could be. I'm just scrolling through now. It's in Scotland, I can tell you that. It's a Glasgow.
Why are they going to the House of Commons then, Billy? They should be going to the whatever the devolved government is.
Yeah, the Scottish government. I've just said House of Commons. That was my mistake, but it's the Scottish government.
Oh, there's a lot of Glasgow. That was just my mistake. Oh, I've just made that bit up.
So it's the Scottish government's COVID-19 tourism and hospitality guidance. That's what they'll have to comply with. And the premise licensing board, that is what they need to go to. The decision under temporary arrangements, decisions will be need to be made by the clerk to the licensing board, and they'll have to do a COVID-19 risk assessment. They'll have to look at an operating plan, a layout plan.
He's changing my mind now.
Yeah, doing well.
All right then. So. I don't think there's anything else I need to know about that one.
Probably not, Tom.
No. I think I'm going to stick with my gut then, Billy. I think I'm going to say that the over 90s nightclub one is fake. But there'll be an element of truth behind it.
No, there's no truth behind it, Tom, whatsoever.
All right.
I've made it up. So basically what I've done is I've just taken a news story about night. So it was in the paper about someone wrote in saying that's what they're going to be doing. They were going to have their nan. It was going to be MC Walking Frame. Was the name of their nan who's going to be visiting these. But I thought if I told you that, you'd know straight away. Yeah. But yeah, they were just going to every bar, music venue, and nightclub will adjust to cater for them. But by the time the rest of us are vaccinated, her mum will become MC Walking Frame. I've just taken a news story that obviously when nightclubs had to adhere to the other policies that had been introduced. But yeah, the other two stories, the board game it's not set to be probably the best-selling game, but it's sold. They sold 2,000 copies in Germany, and I've been signed up for a toy store for its second distributor. So they've just been selling it out of their home of these four sisters. That was released just before Christmas, and then Guardians of the Galaxy is true as well.
That's true as well. That's insane.
Great way to end the year, Tom. Getting it right.
Well, I was going to say, but usually you do so well at doing that, playing it all straight, but you've made so many mistakes.
It was quite hard because I was literally looking through this article, and then the question. I think that's the thing as well, is the question that you ask. If I've thought of the question that you've asked, I am pretty good at making it up. But that one, I was like, shit, I'm making it up now. Whereas I should have gone like I normally do. I doesn't say anything.
It's not like that. Yeah, sorry.
But
very good. Right, well, I've got a podcast idea for you, Billy. you've teased it already, but I've got a different one as well that I've actually spent a lot of time researching, so I want to make sure I talk about that one as well. So the one that you and Alice have just come up with is called Absolute Disaster, which is a spin-off of Absolute Scenes, which should be called Absolute Disasters, shouldn't it? And it's me learning to cook each week with different disaster. So that's that one. My actual idea.
With your vegan meals, it would be as well, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolute vegan disasters. So my podcast idea is called The A Roads of England, or Britain. Do you know how many principal A roads there are, Billy?
217.
Incorrect. 9. So the country. I've actually learnt this through doing it. So I think it might actually be an interesting podcast to do.
I'm just going to mute you now whilst you bore me.
So there's 9 principal A roads. The biggest, the longest one going from London to Edinburgh, the A1, and then you've got the A2. I can read them all out to you if you wish, Billy. If you really want me to, I will. Honestly, I will, Billy. Hang on.
Oh, there we are. Great.
Just
I
1 second.
apologise.
So
I apologise to everyone listening.
Or we can turn it into a game then. So there's the A1 to A6. They all begin in London, and then A7, A8, and A9 all begin in Edinburgh. So let's play. Where does the A road go? So I've already given you A1 goes from London to Edinburgh. A2 goes from London to
Liverpool.
Incorrect. It's Dover. A3 goes from London to
Liverpool.
Incorrect. It's Portsmouth. A4 goes from London to
Cardiff.
You're in the right kind of. Well, it turns into the M4, but it's Avonmouth, which is in sort of Bristol sort of way, or Somerset. A5 London to
Liverpool or Manchester.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, Holyhead, which is Anglesey, isn't it? So then the A6 goes from London to
Newcastle.
Very not bad again, Billy. Carlisle, pretty good. Yeah. Well done. And then, we can carry on playing. A7 goes from Edinburgh to. I'll give you a clue. This one goes south from Edinburgh.
Manchester. I'll just go back there.
Carlisle.
Okay.
The A8 goes from Edinburgh to
Manchester.
No, it goes north, I think, to Greenock.
Yeah.
Greenock. Is it Greenock Morton or something like that? It's the football team. And then A9 goes from Edinburgh to
Belfast.
Scrabster. So, Billy, very disappointed. That's 0 out of 9 that you've got there. We can continue. I've got A10 to A19. So these are the
save them for next week, Tom. Save them for next week.
Okay. So anyway, the idea of the podcast is that I take a celebrity on and I drive the length of each A road. So they're the principal A roads, but then obviously you have other A roads that come off the principal A roads. So I've just told you the longest one. So the longest episode would be from London to Edinburgh for the A1, which is 410 miles.
Yeah.
One podcast interview. The shortest is the A308 in Berkshire, just off the junction 8 and 9 of the M4, which is 1 kilometre. So that would be, if you wouldn't mind, Billy, next week, do you fancy coming on to start the series in Berkshire?
I was going to say, are you going to have, I think you should change it, Tom. I think you should do, depending on the celebrity that you get, you should do the corresponding, because obviously you've got A-list celebrities, B-list celebrities, C. So you should do the
corresponding. A1 would be like the Queen.
An A celebrity. Then if you get a B celebrity, you could do a B road, and then you could do a C celebrity. You could go all the way. That's what you could do.
Get you on a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, there we are. We could just do the road down here for in Cardigan. That can be our road and stuff. So sounds good, Tom.
With that one, I was thinking about length of episodes rather than just, you've also got longevity. There's quite a lot of A roads in the country. I learned about how each road is given its number as well, but I'll probably save that for another episode. Because
that could be that's the introduction episode. That's episode 1. Is obviously how
just
all
me
the roads got. Talking about it, and well done, Tom.
Yeah,
well done.
Thank you.
Do you want to
go on? Give us another couple of questions, Billy.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want another couple of questions? Okay, so Brazilian Senator Chico Rodriguez was was arrested in October when, during his raid on his property, police allegedly discovered diamonds worth
£10,000. Oh no.
Diamonds worth $25,000 hidden in his cat's collar. Cocaine worth $5,000 hidden in a fake lighter that, like you see in gadget shops. Almost 30,000 reales in cash hidden inside his underwear near his buttocks. Or a version of Edvard Munch, The Scream, which was stolen in Oslo in 2016 and thought lost. Which was it, Tom? Can you remember?
It was the he had it down his pants, and the money was down his pants.
Did. So that appeared in the quiz, Tom. I'm
Wow.
sure you're glad to hear. I'm just looking through now to see if there's another one which is good. Oh yeah, here we are. I know you watched this religiously, Tom, so I am expecting you to get the right answer here. So, Keeping Up with the Kardashians ended after 19 seasons this year.
Oh, did it? I mean, gosh, yeah, I remember,
Yeah, I know you were very
19 seasons.
Yeah, 19 seasons, Tom. Which unlikely talent does Kim Kardashian claim to possess? Is it A?
I know this.
She can see other people's emotional energy.
Wow.
B, she can smell people's dental cavities.
Yeah.
C, she can hear dogs' thoughts. Or D, she can taste the rainbow.
This is actually a trick question, and it's all of them.
Is it? Let me go. Let me have a look, because I don't know the answer to this question.
I imagine seriously. I think it's the dentures one. She can smell the.
Tom, you are on a roll.
Is it?
That is correct. B, she can smell people's dental cavities.
Yeah. Well, can't we all? It's not a special.
You're on a roll. You're on a roll with this. That's all I can say is it must be something in the air. It must be that
it's about 20,
they've had.
It's about 2021. Right. Finally, then, for today's episode, because spoiler alert, I've ordered a pizza to come. I ordered it at 12 o'clock. It's coming at about 7-ish. But Alice's parents are coming as well, very, very briefly. So I don't want to miss that. Our predictions for 2021. I've asked you for 2 fairly sensible ones and 1 outlandish one. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, you could decide which is which, Tom, because you might be able to decide. So do you want all 3, or do you want me to go one at a time?
Go all 3 then. If I've got to guess which one is the outlandish one.
Okay, so I've got England not to win the European Championships. They are currently favourites to win it, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
of course they are.
Of course they are. Donald Trump not to attend Biden's inauguration or leave the White House before January 20th. Or the final one is Tom to be engaged by 2022. Now, you can decide which is the most outlandish one, Tom. I know which one I would say.
I'd say the last one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was struggling to think of an outlandish one, and I went, this will be a good one to do.
I knew it was going to be that. When you said, "Oh, you won't guess," I was like, "I bet I can." Right, here are my 3 then. Again, you have to guess which one is the outlandish one. So,
is it Billy to be engaged by 2022?
Billy to be a farm baron. So the first one is there to be crowds, full stadiums by the end of next year.
Okay.
Full crowds, full stadiums. I've also gone for. I've just written Trump will never leave. But what I actually meant was what you've said. He won't attend the inauguration, and he's going to do. He's on about trying to host his own rally on that same day, which I think would be funny. And then aliens.
But aliens, what?
Aliens will.
And there'll be a new Alien film.
No, there will be an alien discovery or invasion or something. Aliens are going to be part of our lives. But I mean, if you'd have said this time last year that we'll all be locked in our houses because of a virus, you'd have all gone, we're stupid.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now that in a year's time, obviously there's aliens. Obviously, there was a meme going around the other day that was like, in 5 years' time, you'll go into a coat pocket and you'll pick out a mask and you go, oh, what a funny old year, before you grab your machete and you walk out into the wasteland outside.
Well, I last night I watched my favourite film of all time, Back to the Future 2. No, we don't talk about that film, Tom. So, and it's funny how in the 80s, how they thought obviously 2015 was going to be in all these flying cars and stuff and things like that. So I think your outlandish prediction is probably more likely, I think, than my outlandish prediction, my outside prediction of you being engaged, Tom. I think aliens landing this year are more likely than you getting engaged this year. I think that's a fair assessment of how ridiculous our predictions are there. But well, no, yeah, it's funny. It's funny that we've both had one in relation to Trump. With your sport one, Tom, do you think that at the end of 2021 we still will have fans in stadiums, or do you think we'll have them back and then they'll go again? Does that make sense?
I think once they're in, I think that'll be it then. But I've written down by the start of next season, because I think there'll come a point where there'll be so much pressure from the public and then from smaller football teams that they need to have fans. Like I don't know if you've seen today, Marine, who's due to play Tottenham Hotspur at home. Yeah. They're losing out on, I think, between £30,000 and £70,000 because of lost revenue and sponsorships and stuff like that. They've lost that, which is a huge amount of money for a club like that. So it'll get to a point where enough people are vaccinated and enough people understand the risk of going into grounds themselves, into crowds themselves, that I think probably by August and September, there will come a point where let fans back into the grounds now, because we'll see it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the rest of this season will be behind closed doors. I'm not expecting to go to the Wolves for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, but just they might use well-being for a lot of people as and mental health as a argument. I think it will get brought up. There's a time to be able to do it, because I think everybody's accepted that this season's a write-off, but then you've got 3 months in the summer to try and get things fixed. I don't imagine that the European Championships will be going ahead as they were planned to across Europe. I think they'll be in one place and there won't be any fans there. Or if there are, that might be the test. It might be very limited to the number of fans. But then, I mean, they're already talking about, I think there's been 500,000 people vaccinated within a week. If they really work hard and do it like they've been doing in Israel and stuff, when they've had people lined up out of places for hours and hours and hours, and just injecting them. But it would take months. It would take months to get the whole population vaccinated. But that's what it'll take. And I think this is not just for football crowds, but for just the general atmosphere in the country. It needs to be going back to normal in a safe way. Because I mean, I've been to the shops recently and people are not behaving in the correct way. There was an interview on BBC 5 Live this morning with a doctor and a consultant saying, if there's people out there who are not wearing masks, you've got blood on your hands. And unfortunately, there's a large proportion of the country who are going out and still behaving in exactly the same way as they would do if there wasn't a virus, and they're causing it to get worse, and it's going to continue in that way until enough people are vaccinated. But there will be a struggle in trying to get people vaccinated, because there'll be anti-vaxxers. There'll be people saying that Bill Gates is trying to control them. But
because that was going to be my that was going to be my outlandish one, was going to be that we're all going to turn into zombies from the vaccine. That would be the one I was flirting with the idea, but I thought this one is much more funnier, the one that I've gone with. It was going to be something related to the vaccine and stuff. That was going to be my one. But yeah, it's not that we like to end on a sour note as well, but it's going to be interesting. The only reason I asked about the stadiums was because I thought, I can see in the summer how they'll allow, like you say, they might do a test pilot with the Euros or something, or maybe not the Euros, another competition or something along those lines in the summer. But I thought by the winter, will they go down a similar route again where they're restrict? If there's another, we don't know what's going to happen and stuff. But that's a story for next year, Tom, to worry about.
I think we'll finish it there. And thank you for everybody who's listened throughout the calendar year. We've enjoyed all the support through people listening, and hopefully the podcast will continue to grow. Now we've closing in on 60 episodes. But personally, it's been a very, very good year. I've enjoyed lots of it, despite the tension, the stress. There's been a lot of change in my life and a lot of positive change, and I've loved every second of it.
Well done, Tom. Well done. I couldn't put it better myself. But I just echoing it. Just thanks to everyone who listens and stuff. So hopefully we'll continue to grow. Share the podcast and vote on the poll.
Now that it's me doing it, vote on the poll.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a safe new year, and we'll see you next week. Cheerio.
Bye.